Hey guys, so Madam Glam has sent me over some more gel polishes. This time they let me pick out 4 different colors from the Neon Dreams collection that they collaborated with Miss Joe's Nail Co. here on YouTube. And the colors that I picked from this collection were Energize Your Day, which was a red, Maddie here, which is a blue, this green, which is called Mother Nature, and a yellow that is called Limoncello. I believe that is how you pronounce it. That might be wrong though. So all the colors from this collection are really bright and kind of neon-ish. They're not like neon, but they're still like super bright colors. So starting off with Mother Nature for the swatches, it is just a really nice green. It's like a green. It doesn't have any kind of different undertones. Like it's not more of a yellow green or more of a blue green. It's like a true green. So with this color, it is a little bit sheer. I do still feel like you could probably get away with just doing 1 coat if you really wanted to, but I would recommend doing 2 coats because as you can see here, you can kind of see like my skin tone there a little bit underneath the green because it's not 100% opaque. It is a little bit of a sheer color. This red, Energize Your Day, is kind of the same, where it's not 100% opaque, but it's also not like super sheer. It's just kind of a little bit sheer. And on camera, this red looks a little orangey. In person, it kind of also looks a little orangey, but not as orange as it looks on camera. It's definitely more red in person, but there still is like a little bit of an orange-ish like undertone to it. So because of that, I wouldn't call it a true red, but it is still a really nice red. If you're interested in purchasing these colors or any other colors from Madam Glam, I do have a discount code that I will pop up here on the screen. I will also leave it down in the description below. So limoncello or limoncello, however you pronounce that, it's kind of like a pastel yellow made neon almost. It kind of makes me think of like if a yellow highlighter was made to be pastel instead of that super bright neon yellow that it is. It's kind of weird, but I really like this color. And I apologize, during these swatches my camera kept focusing on my nails that are closest to it, instead of focusing on the swatch stick. So as I'm swatching, it's kind of a little bit blurry. So unlike Mother Nature and Energize Your Day, this one is very opaque and it is easily a one coater. I do recommend doing 2 coats just to get the full opacity and to make sure you have everything covered. But if you wanted to, you could just do 1 coat of that. Maddie here is my favorite out of all the colors, but that is because it's blue, and blue is my favorite color, especially this shade of blue. I think is my favorite shade of blue. And again, this one is very opaque, easily can just do 1 coat if you wanted. So here I'm just going in and doing a 2nd coat on all of the swatches. I usually don't show myself doing the 2nd coat. I usually do it off camera and top coat off camera, and then show you what it looks like with 2 coats and a top coat after I got it all done. But for some reason I felt like going ahead and showing me applying that 2nd coat on the swatches. So here are the 4 colors. Energize Your Day is looking more red than orange in this clip compared to the previous clips. As you can see, these colors are very bright colors, and I really love how bright they are, and I just really like these colors. So before I get into the nail art, I just wanted to give a little update on my birthday nails and how the rhinestones held up. I had them on for 3 weeks, and I pretty much have almost all of the rhinestones on still. The rhinestones that were on that little skull charm there, all of them came off except for like 2 of them. Just on the left hand though, on the right hand, that charm still has all of the rhinestones. I am missing 2 of the blue rhinestones on my right hand here. I did hit my hand a couple times on stuff, and those just happened to be the ones that popped off. The really large rhinestone that I had on the top of both of the ring fingers, it did end up catching on stuff, especially my hair. It snagged on my clothes a few times and various other stuff, and I thought it would get ripped off, but it never did. It held on the entire time. So now moving on to the nail art, I will be using Riverwalk, which I got from Madam Glam. But before I do that, I'm just going in with my dehydrator, primer, and my base coat, and I cure the base coat for 30 seconds. I do this on my pinky, middle, and thumbnails. I don't show my thumb on camera though. So after I get the base coat on, I go in with Riverwalk, which is just a white, and I paint on 2 layers of that, and I cure each layer for 60 seconds. So my inspiration for this nail set were Jawbreakers. I've had the idea to do a Jawbreaker nail set for a while now, and since I received these gel polishes from Madam Glam, I thought now would be the perfect time because they are the perfect colors for that. So now I'm just going to take the other colors and just start layering them up to be like the inside of a Jawbreaker. If you've ever seen the inside of a Jawbreaker, then you know that they have multiple layers to them, and I wanted to recreate that look. Each layer I do cure for a full 60 seconds just to make sure that everything is 100% cured, especially since we are doing multiple layers of gel polish. I don't want any of those layers underneath to be uncured. And some of the colors I could do 1 layer with them. Some of them I had to do 2 layers with them. It really just depended on what the color was underneath and how much you could see that through the color that was on top. So I just keep repeating that of layering the colors until I have as many layers as I wanted. And I am doing this part first before building up my nail because all these layers are going to make the nail super bulky, and I didn't want that. Also, when you go to file down the layers so you can see the different colors, it leaves dips in the nails, and I also didn't want the dips in the nails, so I'm doing all of this first, and then I will go in and encapsulate everything afterwards. That way it can be a nice thin nail. When I file it down, it'll also be smooth and even. So if you're doing Jawbreaker nails, you can layer the colors up in any order you want. You just want to make sure that you finish with white, since Jawbreakers are typically white on the outside, and the inside is where you will see all of the different layers of colors. So once I get this final layer of white on, I cure for 60 seconds, and then I'm going to take these pigment powders and this brush that I have and create the like splatter look that Jawbreakers typically have. So I just dip the brush into the powders and then just kind of tap it to get the powders to kind of splatter onto the nail. And then once I have the colors on, I take the brush and kind of tap them into the nail to kind of get rid of those larger chunks, also to make sure that it's stuck onto the sticky layer of the white, and then to remove the excess powders that are on the nails, I do lightly blow them off, and then I go in and top coat them to seal in all of the powders. If you do something like this and you don't want the powders to drag and become streaky from the top coat, you want to float the top coat on top and not really drag it down the nail, because if you drag it down, it will kind of leave those streaks, which I didn't mind. It gave it more of that splattered look to it. And then I cure that for 60 seconds, and then after it's cured, I take my 100-180 grit file and I use the 100 grit side, and I'm just going in and filing in one spot to file down those layers so you can see the different layers underneath. This is to give that illusion of you've been licking in the one spot and you start to get farther down into it and start uncovering those different layers. And you can do this with your e-file and your mandrel bit and a sanding band, but I chose to do it with a hand file because I felt like if I did it with my e-file, I might accidentally take off too much. I felt like I had more control with the hand file than I might with the e-file. And when you're doing this, you can make the spots as big as you want or as small as you want. You can do however many different spots you want. So this is what they look like after I got done filing them. You can see I kind of layered the colors differently on each nail. And here I'm just showing that dip that is created when you do file down the nails. This is again why I chose to do this before building up my nail. That way I could fill those dips in. So to do that, I'm just going to use my clear builder gel and this gel brush. I use a size 14, and I just go in with a thin layer first. This is my slip layer, and then before curing that, I go in with a larger amount of the gel and just float that on and use that to build the nail. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on how I build my nails, I do have a video where I talk about how I build up my nails in depth, and I will link that down below for you if you are interested. And then after I get the nails built up, I go in and file them. I only show me building up the pinky nail and not the others. I also don't show the filing. I didn't want this video to be too long, so I skipped showing all that. Now moving on to my ring and pointer finger, I just go in with my dehydrator, primer, and base coat again, curing the base coat for 30 seconds. And then after curing the base coat, I take my builder gel and I do a thin layer of that just so that the nail is all one nice even layer and there's not that like ridge or like gap where my natural nail and the nail tip meet. So after I cure the builder gel, I do wipe off the sticky layer. I also do not build up the nail at all. I just add that one thin layer, and that is because I'm going to be doing like an aquarium nail, but without the liquid inside. So I'm just going in now and applying my no wipe rhinestone glue to the perimeter of the nail, not adding it to the free edge but the sides and up around the cuticle. Then I take my full cover tip, set that right on top, and then cure it. I go in and fill in those sides, and while I'm not adding liquid to it so I don't have to worry about leaks, I don't want there to be any gaps so any liquid could get in. So I got the idea to do like an aquarium nail without the liquid. Back when I did my ocean aquarium set, I was like, I wonder what it would be like to do this without the liquid. And I haven't seen anyone else do this, but I'm sure someone somewhere has done this. I doubt this is an original idea by me, but I decided to put sprinkles in the nails because I felt like they kind of looked like mini Jawbreakers, and this was so difficult to do. You can see me right here struggling to scoop them up and put them into the nail with my cuticle pusher. I tried pushing them in with the tweezers, but they were just too big for the opening of the nail, so I had to kind of file down the bottom tip to make the opening larger. But even then, I could only use the really small sprinkles and not the larger ones, because the small ones were the only ones that I could get to fit into the nail. And since all the different sizes of sprinkles are mixed together, I had to individually pick out the smallest size ones and pick them up with my tweezers and place them into the tanks. I show me doing a few of them, but I didn't show me doing the whole nail because it took forever, and I'm sure you don't want to see me place probably about 100 sprinkles inside of my nails. So I did that all off camera to spare you being bored. So this is how big of a gap I had in between the nails, which isn't very big. It's fine with normal like aquarium nails because the pieces that go in there are flat and not round like a sprinkle. So I had to take my e-file and this pointy bit and just file that bottom tip to create a larger opening to fit those sprinkles in. And then once I filled up the nails, I cut off the excess and sealed them up with my no wipe rhinestone glue. I did the first layer and it kind of caved in a little bit, so I did a second layer of that. After flash curing, I did cure for a full 60 seconds, and then I went around and filed them so that they weren't all lumpy and bumpy. So after I got done filing and I had washed my hands, I decided that the sprinkle nails were a little boring and they needed something more. I just felt like compared to the other 3 nails, they were missing something. I know that's probably weird to say since they are filled with sprinkles and that should be enough, but it wasn't enough for me. Like, it just felt like it needed a little something extra. So I decided to go in and outline the nails with those 4 colors that I got from Madam Glam, just to add a little bit of something to the nails. And I'm actually really happy that I ended up doing this because my original idea did not include this. These were just going to be clear nails with the sprinkles inside. I also didn't mean to fill them up as much as I did because I wanted the sprinkles to move around like how everything moves around in an aquarium nail. But I ended up filling the nails up a bit too much, so the sprinkles don't really move around too much. They do a little bit, but it's not as much movement as with a normal aquarium nail. But I just really feel like the outline really brought the whole set together. And after I get the outlines all done, I go in and top coat. I do top coat the underneath of the sprinkle nails, and when I top coat the underneath of my nails, I like to chemically etch them with my primer. That way the top coat doesn't chip off from underneath the nails. I used to not chemically etch them or even etch them at all, but I would experience chipping of the top coat underneath, so I decided to start etching them. And I didn't want to do it with my e-file because I didn't want all the dust, so chemically etching with the primer does the job. And I originally wanted to do matte top coat for the Jawbreaker nails, but I think because I encapsulated them, it didn't look right having them matte. So I just went ahead and added my shiny top coat to all of the nails, and then I cure that for 60 seconds. And after I get the top coat on, I go in and apply my cuticle oil. And this is what they look like. I do think this is a cute design. I, however, am not 100% in love with it. I definitely could have done things differently to make them a bit better. I also don't really feel like the sprinkle nails were worth it to place each individual sprinkle into the tanks. I think it would be better to just put down a base coat or rhinestone glue, sprinkle them on, cure that, and then encapsulate the whole nail. I do, however, love the Madam Glam gel polishes that I got. I do think this Neon Dreams collection is like perfect for a set like this. I do think this is a super fun design, and I think this is a really nice way to end like my summer designs before going into my fall and Halloween designs. I just feel like if I were to do these ever again, which I probably won't, but if I were, there are a few things that I would do differently. And I was going to do this design on my right hand as well, but after all that and how difficult it was, I don't think I'm going to. It's already a struggle to do my right hand, and I'm not going to struggle with these sprinkles. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.